Hi Internet! It's me, Francesca. Today I want to do a skin update video. My last two videos were skin transformation videos featuring glycolic acid and I had fantastic results. Now you might think that from there on out I just kept using glycolic acid every single day until my skin just got better and better and better and it went back to its poreless, perfect, blemish-free state. But that's not what happened. I tried so many things over the course of I think 8 to 9 months and each decision really led me to the perfect regimen. Now my skin is still not 100%. I still have issues to solve, but I'm really truly happy and confident with where it's at right now. Now I'm gonna put timestamps so you could go straight to the treatment that you're interested in, but if you want to see the entire journey, then just watch. After using AHA for quite a while, the next thing I wanted to try was BHA. At first, I was under the impression that AHA was good for close comedones because it's unearthing the gunk, and BHA is good for blackheads and acne because it's melting the gunk. But then I thought, well, if I'm trying to unearth the gunk, wouldn't it be more efficient if I also melted the gunk at the same time? I also read that it would be beneficial if I get a product that contains both BHA and AHA so that the experts would have mixed it for me already. I chanced upon this product in the drugstore. It was right next to the CosRx toners. Of course, I checked the ingredients first. Salicylic acid was one of the first top listed ingredients, so that was a good sign. And then I researched all the other ingredients and it seemed all okay. Basically, it didn't have anything there that's not supposed to be there. Plus, it was also cheaper than CosRx, so at that point, the choice was clear. I also read that it was a dupe of a popular Korean skincare brand, and you can really tell that by the packaging. I did the exact same routine I did in my AHA routine, and I used it for about 3 to 4 weeks. Because of the consistency, it was really nice to use as like a mask. So what I would do is I would get these square cotton pads that had like 3 layers, and then I would drench them, and then I would put it on my cheeks, 2 on my cheeks, and then 1 on my forehead, and kind of like let it just stay there. I really enjoyed using it that way. The smell though is a little bit weird. I think the smell was trying to be natural, but you know how when you mix too much scents together and it kind of just smells bad in the end. Although it's not really a deal breaker for me. I mean, I couldn't not stand it, so like it was fine. But eventually I got this tiny bumps all over my cheeks and along my jaw as well. I mean, closed comedones are already small, but it's even smaller than that. Now, I could chalk this up to either the product, maybe it's one of the ingredients, maybe it's not right for me, maybe it's not a great one, or I could also chalk it up to neglect, because I'm gonna be honest, ever since my skin cleared up at that point, even just a little bit, I got overconfident, and sometimes I forget to take off a face full of makeup before going to sleep or a face full of sunscreen. So now that I had 1,000 tiny bumps on my face, my first instinct was to unearth them. And what I wanted was Tretinoin, the queen of all acne solutions, the queen of micro-exfoliants, the so true fountain of youth. It was obvious, but I couldn't get my hands on Tretinoin, and so out of desperation and haste, I just got a micro-exfoliant soap with like those little exfoliation beads from one of the top Tretinoin solution brands here in the Philippines. So it had HA, it also had BHA, it also had a little bit of Tretinoin. I would lather the soap up in my hands, and then the lather I would smear it all over my cheeks and my forehead, basically all over my face. And then I would let it stay there for quite a while, basically until it dries up like a mask. I have to give credit where credit is due though, because I noticed that after I would do that, I would feel that the bumps would have flattened a little bit. And so I kept using it until it stopped working. You know how when you've run out of options and now you're willing to take a wild chance, even though the rationale behind it isn't really very strong? Well, I found myself yet again at the soap section of the grocery store, and this time I picked up Sulfur soap. I read that this might be a solution as well to close comedones, and my boyfriend said that everyone he knew who has tried Sulfur soap, their skin underwent really intense peeling, but after that it seemed to reveal like blemish-free, perfect, new skin, and after that they never had any other problems with their skin anymore. And also, to me, peeling is a very welcome side effect. Like, it's fine. I feel like I could see it work. Sulfur soap worked very much like glycolic acid, actually, in the sense that it would make the closed comedones and acne ripen so much faster. So now the bumps that I had on my face became much more prominent. And at that point, to me, this was a good sign, because that means eventually I could pop it or it would become acne. And like I keep saying, a pimple to me is a problem that's on its way to solving itself. So I kept using Sulfur soap until, again, it stopped working. So what I would do now is that I would alternate between the two soaps. So I would use Sulfur until it stops, and then the Micro-Exfoliant until it stops, and Sulfur, Micro-Exfoliant. So after a while of doing this, one day I was just like, I'm done, like I don't want to do this anymore. I need Tretinoin. And this time I finally got my hands on one. Now I have to put a little disclaimer here that prior to this, I used to see a dermatologist, and I was using azelaic acid for a couple months and benzoyl peroxide for a couple months. And prior to this also, you guys know that I did glycolic acid for I think maybe a good month too. So I would say that my skin definitely has the strength to tolerate tretinoin the way I used it, which was pretty aggressive. I used it every single night. Now, if you have no experience whatsoever in products like tretinoin, do not do that. Don't. I swear, your skin is gonna hate you for it, and you might even damage your skin. So please don't. If you're completely new to tretinoin. Tretinoin turned my closed comedones into full-blown acne. I also got cystic acne, which I never got. If you look at my face, you wouldn't see it, but if you feel it, you could definitely tell that there's something really big under my skin. I still pop my pimples a lot, and so I had a lot of scars. However, my forehead was the very first area that tretinoin cleared out. Now, at this time, my sister and my dad were having skin problems, having breakouts of their own. And they went to the doctor so that they could get a prescription for Clindamycin. And they were trying very hard to get me in on Clindamycin as well. And I am no stranger to Clindamycin. Back when I used to see another dermatologist years ago, I was given this Clindamycin toner, and it worked so beautifully on me. My skin just loves it so much. Like, I would put it on a pimple that's just starting, and then the next day it would be completely flat. I know Clindamycin very well. We're like a really, really good match, but it's not something that I want to depend on. So my sister and my dad had to try very, very hard to convince me, but eventually they were successful. They also got me in on this soap called Defensil. I looked up the ingredients, and I think the active ingredient here was tea tree oil. It was also this time that I finally got a proper BHA toner. For real this time, I got a CosRx BHA toner. The reason I got this was also because I thought, well, if I don't have closed comedones anymore and my problem now is acne, maybe I should modify my approach to cater to acne. As expected, the clindamycin calmed down my acne and the inflammation tremendously. The tea tree oil soap faded my scars greatly, and at one point I could even see clear patches on my face. I noticed that BHA behaved the way AHA did, in the sense that it would also ripen comedones and pimples faster. I still pop my pimples, and I would notice that every time I do, the inflammation would go back and it would be so severe. After a week or two, I stopped clindamycin. I didn't finish my whole course because I was really determined to find a solution that would work for everyone. And if clindamycin is there, it's not gonna, because you need a prescription for that. So I stopped it and I added back tretinoin in. Now, when I added back tretinoin on top of the AHA, the BHA, the tea tree oil soap, I experienced micro-peeling. But like I said, I took this as a good sign. I like micro-peeling. This is also the time that I could really tell how the products I was using were working alongside each other. I'm not sure if this is how it really worked, but it just seemed to me like when I use the tretinoin, it would help the dead skin cells unglue or detach themselves faster. And then the BHA would melt off the gunk. The tea tree oil soap dried up the zits or the closed comedones and faded my scars. And the AHA wipes it all off nicely, revealing brighter, more glowy, newer skin. This was also the time that I had to accept that I don't need to use tretinoin every single day to see that it works. This time I just used it once a week and it still did the job. This was also the time that I had to accept the fact that I might be over moisturizing. At this point, I was using CeraVe Hydrating Cleanser, CeraVe PM Moisturizer, and Clear Supple Preparation Toner religiously. Because, well, aside from the fact that my skin needs nourishment and moisturization, I proved that these products help close up my pores. And after so many months of treatment, my pores really needed that. But I got a comment on one of my videos and they said that once they stopped using the CeraVe Hydrating Cleanser, their closed comedones improved greatly. And this was when I realized, well, if I keep trying to unearth and melt off the gunk, why would I keep applying things that would supply more oil that would become gunk? So I cast them all aside. Today, this is my skin. I am so happy with it. It has come such a long way. You know how when for months you've tried to practice looking in the mirror without really looking at yourself? But these days I put on makeup, I can go foundation free, and I feel like I just look more and more like myself each day. So